I'm going to try to keep all these modules very real and very authentic, so I'm not going to edit anything. And to be fully transparent, I do have notes on the side right here because I cannot memorize all this shit. It'd be too hard, and I don't want to forget the things that I have to say. A little bit about myself. I am just a very normal dude. I grew up playing video games, reading comic books, reading or watching all the comic book movies, all that nerdy shit. And I never really touched grass until I was 18, which is pretty embarrassing to say. But my dad kicked me out when I was 18, and then I was forced to go live in the real world, which turned me into the person I am today. So I'm super grateful for that. The only difference between you and me really is that I have a little different mindset than you, which we'll get into in the other modules. And I decided to change, and I actually stuck with it. You taking the first step to enroll in this program is definitely the best start for you to get you to where you want to be. Like, you're on your way, man. This is just the start of your journey. There is nothing inherently special about me. I'm pretty similar to you, and the only reason this program exists is because I want to be the person I wish I had when I was just starting out, or even before I started out. I want to be the person who can guide you to your goals and help you get to where you want to be in life. Whether that just be physically, mentally, everything. I'm here to help you. That's pretty much it for this starting module. Welcome. I'm happy you're here. Let's get into the other ones. Even though this program is made exactly with you in mind, it's not going to do anything for you if you don't put in the work. I can give you the perfect personalized workout plan, perfect meal plan, everything that is flexible and personalized to your schedule and you as a person. But if you're not the one to put in the work, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just the sad truth, man. Like, I can do everything I can in my power to help you get to where you want to be, give you everything, hand feed you, but I can't make you eat. Here's an analogy. You're in a hole and you can't get out of the hole. But I'm at the top, I drop a ladder down to you. I'm holding the ladder still. I'm telling you exactly how to climb, and I am also cheering you on. But I can't be the one to climb out for you. You're going to be stuck in that hole if you're not the one to climb out the ladder. I can't do the climbing for you, but I can give you everything you need to climb the ladder yourself and get out. I will do everything in my power. I will give you everything you need in order to reach the goal that you want. But if you're not the one to put in the work, nothing's going to happen. All right, on to the next one. All right, what to expect from the course and coaching. The course basically is just a bunch of video modules for you to watch. They're going to be super quick, but they're going to be very important to get you to where you want to be. From coaching, you're going to get personalized and flexible workout plans depending on your schedule, how much time you have, stuff like that. You're going to get a meal plan that's very personalized to foods you like, how many calories you have, all the macros you need. Even if you don't follow that, though, you're going to get tips on how to have healthier habits so you can make good decisions to help you lose weight or gain weight, depending on whatever your goal is. And then you're also going to get weekly check-ins, so we make sure that you're on track, doing the right things. You're going to get daily messaging. I'm going to respond to you within a couple hours, definitely within the same day. And basically, I'm just going to give you everything you need. I'm going to hand feed you all the information. I'm going to hold your hand, guide you to the finish line. Do not ever be afraid to message me about something if you need anything at all or have any questions, because that is what I'm here for. I'm going to keep you accountable, and I'm going to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing. I'm just going to be here for you, bro. I got you. All right, go to the next video module. All right, welcome to the mindset module. This is going to be the most important module of the course because mindset is everything when it comes to fitness. Honestly, mindset is everything when it comes to life. Your mindset is your greatest asset. Wait, that bars, bro. That rhymed. That was sick. Okay, anyway. Yeah, your mindset is the greatest thing you'll have. Like your mindset is with you all the time. Your brain, your mind, it's literally with you 24/7. If you can either decide to have your mindset be your ally or your enemy. If your mindset is your enemy, then your whole life you're just going to be working against yourself. But if your mindset is your friend, you're just going to be supporting yourself and doing like everything you need to do to get where you want to be. As corny as it sounds, your thoughts shape your reality. Think about it like this. Every time you think about something, like take me for example, I used to think that I was very lazy. So since I thought I was lazy, I would act lazy to reinforce my thinking, which brought it into reality and proved that I was lazy. Other people would tell me I was lazy because my thoughts changed my actions, which changed my reality. It's kind of a little difficult to understand at first, but it's super important. Once you get it, you'll be like, dude, this is crazy. But it actually works. And it sounds kind of corny, but yeah, it actually works. If you think of yourself a certain way, you're gonna consciously and subconsciously act that way to reinforce that belief, and then it's gonna shape your reality. There's this one quote by Rene Descartes. He's a philosopher. It goes, I think, therefore I am. Basically, it just means I think I am a certain way, and then I become that way. As soon as you start thinking like that, you could achieve anything, bro. Like when I first started working out, I thought I was small, lazy, and then I just thought at some point I was disciplined, and then I started becoming disciplined, and I am disciplined. Your mindset is everything, bro. Come back to this module every time you need to, anytime you feel stressed, unmotivated, anytime you feel like shit, just come back to this module. Watch every single one if you have to. But I know this is the most important module and it's going to help you a ton. And I hope you apply everything you learn in this module to your life because it will definitely change it. All right, next. All right, a fresh start. Forget all the times you failed. Forget all the mistakes you've made. Forget everything you've tried in the past and didn't work. We're pressing the fucking respawn button, okay? This is the new you. If you were in the call, you should have been in the call to get into the program. And we went over the fear of the past, which we would have debunked because we want to become our ideal self, and our ideal self would not use their past failures and mistakes as a blockade, but a learning experience to help them reach their goals. So, the past means nothing. We're here now in the present. We're changing our minds. We're changing how we think about ourselves. And we're going to use our thoughts to get us to our goals. Remember, respawn. This is the new you, okay? Next. All right, the blame game. I hate this game. This is my least favorite game ever, but so many people play it. If you blame anybody but yourself, that's where the power will go. But if you blame yourself, you hold all the power to change. If you blame all your external factors, you're just going to constantly make excuses on why you can't do anything. But if you're constantly focusing on your inputs rather than your outputs, you're going to make so much more progress. Here, let me go more deep into it, more in depth. Basically, if you only worry about what's in here rather than everything else out there, like say time, information, any external factors like social events, stuff like that. If you worry about all of that rather than what you're doing as an individual to better yourself and get yourself to your goals, that is the biggest problem. You are to blame for everything that happens in your life. Well, there are inevitable circumstances that occur that are out of our control. But where you are in your life right now is solely dependent on you. You are the main factor in your life trajectory. So if your life is going downhill, you got to think about everything that you're doing that's influencing that. Right now, your life trajectory is going way up. You enlisted in this program, you're here trying to make a change, and you will make a change because you're going to put in the work. Everything is your fault, okay? All your wins, all your failures, everything. Don't blame anyone else or anything else. You're just going to be wasting time. You're going to be wasting energy. You're just going to be making excuses. Just focus on you. Focus on what you're doing. And you'll get to where you want to be in no time. Next one. All right, mental traps and limiting beliefs. There's a lot of them, so I can't get over or go over every single one. But these are the most important ones that I thought about. First one is believing that you have to be perfect. You absolutely do not have to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. So I want you to get that out of your head. You're gonna fuck up some days. You're gonna not hit your calories, not hit your macros, not hit a workout. It's gonna happen. It happens to me all the time. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Don't try to be. Just try to be better. If last year you didn't do a single workout, but now you're doing like 3 workouts a week, that is huge progress. Huge progress. If last month you weren't even hitting your calories or your protein, and now you're like within 30% of that range of like what you need to be hitting, dude, that is insane. That is amazing. You're doing so much good work. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be on the dot every single time. You just have to be better than you were before. Second limiting belief or mental trap is tomorrow. Always saying you're going to be better tomorrow. It's one thing to say it and another to actually do it. There's so many people that I've seen who say, "Oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to be better tomorrow," but they never actually do it. It's okay to say it if it's actually true and you do actually do better tomorrow, but you have to know yourself. Are you just saying it just to say it and make yourself feel better? Or are you saying it because you actually slipped up, which is okay, and you're actually going to be better tomorrow? Tomorrow never comes. It's always today. Today is today. And today will always be today. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like it might not make sense. If it doesn't make sense, don't think too hard about it. Just know that don't put things off for tomorrow that can be done today. Don't make excuses. Just do it today if you can. And you probably can. And the last one that I wanted to go over was the all or nothing belief. Basically, it's thinking that you have to be perfect or you shouldn't do it at all. It kind of ties in with the first one. All or nothing. You have to do everything correctly. You have to do everything. You have to mark, like, check every box, or might as well just not go down the list, right? No. You don't have to do that. You can do something some days. You don't have to do everything that you need to be doing every single day. You just need to be better at doing it. And then eventually you get to the point where you can check off every box on the list But you just have to start with one thing on the list and then just eventually add more checks. And then eventually you'll fill up the list. It's not all or nothing. It's just consistently improving, getting better, 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 better. Okay? Yeah, those are the 3 big ones that I wanted to go over. There's a lot more, but this video would be too long. So go to the next module. All right, self-image. Self-image is huge. Self-image is fucking huge, okay? The way you think about yourself is going to dictate how you act. Remember, like I said in the first module, how you think shapes your actions, which shapes your reality. We should have already went over your ideal self in the first call that we had to get you into the program. So if we keep thinking about our ideal self and what they would do in our shoes, we just have to act accordingly. So for example, let's say my ideal self right now, if that version of me was in my shoes right now, I would be doing all the work that I need to be doing. I wouldn't be slacking off, scrolling mindlessly, brain rotting. I would utilize my time as much as I can. And even if I was tired, I would still do the work. So I gotta act that way. I gotta do exactly that. And then I will become the ideal version of myself. It honestly really is that simple. I like to think of like the inner hero and the inner villain of ourselves, okay? The inner villain is the guy, the version of you who wants to sabotage you and bring you down to your lowest. So let's say you're at home, you're bored. So you want to eat something, eat a bag of chips, okay? What would your inner villain tell you to sabotage you from keeping you off track from losing weight? Your inner villain would tell you to eat that bag of chips to sabotage you. He would say, "Oh yeah, let's make this dude's progress fucking stall. Let's ruin his progress, ruin his hard work. Eat that bag of chips." Your inner hero would say, "Bro, you've already put in so much hard work. You're just bored. Why munch on these bag of chips and lose progress when you could just eat some fruits, which are lower calorie? Find better alternatives, or don't eat them at all and realize that your thoughts are just based on your feelings." You always got to consider these two, your inner hero and your inner villain. What are they saying? How are they influencing your decision? And how are they influencing your self-belief or your self-image? The way you think about yourself is everything. Think about yourself in a third-person perspective. Every time you say something negative or bad about yourself, think about it like as if your best friend was saying that to himself. If your best friend was telling himself, "Oh, I'm such a lazy piece of shit. Fucking hate myself." You'd be like, "Bro, relax. You're amazing. You're good." See, that's how you should be talking to yourself. Every time you catch yourself thinking negatively, just support yourself as if you were your own best friend, because you should be your own best friend. Your mind is with you all the time. Your mind is your greatest ally. Your self-image is everything. So just focus on improving your self-image by improving your relationship with yourself and your own mind. All right, I kind of rambled on this one, but go to the next module. Why no foods are off limits? To get to where you want to be, if it isn't 10% body fat or lower, all you need to worry about is calories in and calories out. So just focus on, let's say, if you're trying to lose weight, being in a caloric deficit, but making sure you get your protein in. So why no foods are off limits? If you hit your protein goal for the day and you're still not over your calories for the day, you can fill that buffer in with whatever foods you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be whole foods, all like super boring, bland foods. If you have like 400 calories for a donut, eat the fucking donut. You just have to realize, is this gonna make me hungry later? Am I gonna want to eat something else later? Is this gonna ruin my progress? Or is this keeping me on track to help me towards my goals? Or is it like neutral? If it's neutral or helping you towards your goals, then it's fine. But if it's sabotaging your goals, let's say it's getting you over your calories for the day, I would say no, don't eat it. But if you have a bunch of calories left and you want to go eat something that fills in that calorie buffer, go for it. But take it with a grain of salt, because eating highly processed foods all the time can make you feel like shit. But every once in a while, totally fine, totally okay. You know, try to live your life. Just have healthy habits so it's sustainable and long lasting. Macro manipulation. This is super important. You might have heard this before. But basically, it's just playing around with all the numbers of the proteins, calories, and fats so that, and your calories in general, so that you can implement foods that you love into your diet. Kind of like going along with the last module, why no foods are off limits, it's because of macro manipulation. If you manipulate your macros in a way where you reach your goals, but you still have a ton of calories left, you can totally implement foods that you love. You don't have to give up anything. Like, for example, the other day, I ate a lot of protein early in the day. So I had a ton of calories left in the night, and I wanted a donut. So I went and got a donut. I was still in a caloric deficit, I was still working towards my goals, and I was able to satisfy a craving. This is why I also emphasize front loading your protein a lot, which is basically just getting in as much protein as you can early on in the day. So later in the night, when you do have all these cravings and you're close to going to bed, you can satisfy those cravings, still be in your caloric deficit, and then go to sleep so you're not hungry. Macro manipulation is the number one way, in my opinion, to work towards your goals, because it allows it to be super sustainable and long lasting, and it just helps you stay on track for longer. All right, next one. Okay, transitioning to intuitive eating for sustainability. Once you've been tracking for a while, for a couple months, you begin to know like portion sizes, how much you are eating, how much you should be eating, and there's this hunger scale. What's it called? Hunger fullness scale. There's a hunger fullness scale that you use. I think 1 is like you're super duper hungry, you're about to die from starvation, and 10 is like you're super duper full, you're about to throw up. Usually you want to be within like the 3 to 7 range of fullness. So 3 would be like I could maybe snack on something right now, but I'm not super hungry. I could probably hold off. 7 is like, yeah, I'm pretty full. Like I don't have to eat anything else right now. I'm like satisfied, very satisfied. You want to stay within that range when you're intuitively eating. And you already know portion sizes. Like you should have a lot of protein on a plate. Like majority of your plate should be protein, there's carbs, and then vegetables. You know, intuitive eating is basically just feeling it out. Don't go to the extremes and use your best judgment, because since you've been tracking for a while now, you already know what you should and shouldn't be eating. All right, next one. Okay, protein, protein, protein. Protein is the most important part of your diet. You want to prioritize protein at all times. You want to get anywhere from 0.7 grams of protein to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you're really overweight and trying to lose a lot of weight, you want to shoot for your goal weight. So let's say you're 300 pounds, you want to get to 250. eat 250 grams of protein. Otherwise, shoot for around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, just so it's easy to remember and you know how much you need. Always prioritize high protein, like lean high protein foods. You always want to make sure with every meal that you get, you have a lean high protein source. And also, you want to make sure that for every meal you have, your calorie to protein ratio is 10 to 1. So for every 10 calories, you want 1 gram of protein. That is usually a good measurement. That is what I consider like good. Good. That's what I consider good for a meal. If it's anything lower than that, so let's say you have a 400 calorie meal and you have like 20 grams of protein, I would consider that pretty shit. But if you have a 400 calorie meal and for 40 grams of protein, that's really good. If you have like a 400 calorie meal, 30 grams of protein, that's okay. But just don't go too far below the 10 to 1 ratio. Anything, if you have like a, or don't go any higher than the 10 to 1 ratio. If you go lower, it's always better just because you have a lot more protein. Protein keeps you full and it's the main thing that helps you build muscle. So just at all times, prioritize your protein. I'm going to put a list below of high protein foods that you can implement into your diet. It's going to be like the leanest and then pretty lean and just kind of lean. And then, yeah, just use those whenever you want to go grocery shopping or pick out foods, whenever you go eat out, just so you know which good choices to make when it comes to protein sources. Cool. Next. All right, tracking your food. Tracking your food is the number one recommendation that I have for people just starting out because most people, probably yourself included, don't actually know how much you're eating. You might know how much you're eating, or you might think you might know how much you're eating, but you don't actually know unless you're tracking. Tracking just gives you that certainty and it just eliminates the guessing. You can just start tracking in the beginning so you know exactly how much you're eating, exactly what a how much you're how ex, oh my god, knowing exactly how much you should be eating and what that looks like. So then later, eventually, when you are off the program, you don't have to track anymore. You can intuitively eat, and since you were tracking for the beginning of your journey, you already know how much like each portion size is. You already know what it looks like to overeat, what it looks like to undereat. Tracking just helps you gain that certainty and that knowledge so that you can use it later down the line to help you with long-term success. Okay, that's it. Next one. All right, some common logging mistakes. Biggest ones I see all the time: not tracking oils you use to cook, not tracking sauces. Yeah, those are the two biggest ones. Because sauces add so many calories. Because it's so easy to just slather on a bunch of like ranch or something. But if you're using a 0 calorie or no sugar added sauce, which are usually like 5 to 10 calories, it's usually okay to use those like a bunch. I do it all the time. And then for oils, you always want to keep track of how much oil you're using to cook. And don't use measurements like tablespoons or teaspoons because those are always inaccurate. You always want to use the food scale for grams and ounces because that will be the most accurate. And that will basically allow you to see all the little stuff. Also, um, little tiny bites of things that you take throughout the day. Let's say you're just like taking a piece of candy or just grabbing a bite of one of your friend's food. If you do that a bunch of times throughout the day, that shit adds up. So you don't necessarily have to track that, but you just have to keep that in mind when you're logging all your food. All right, next one. Okay, how to track without being obsessive. This is a big one for me because I used to be super obsessive. The numbers used to bog me down all the time. If I didn't hit the numbers on the dot every single time, I would get paranoid. and that would be pretty obsessive. But just don't don't think too much about the numbers. It's not that serious, bro. Logging is just a tool to help you know roughly, with a very small marginal error, how much you're eating. Tracking shouldn't be like something you do forever. It should just be something you do until you know exactly how much you're eating and how much you should be eating. And it really just shouldn't be something that you stress too much about. It's a tool to help you, and it shouldn't control you. Next one. All right, what to do if you eat out or miss a day of tracking? If you eat out, just make good decisions. Don't get the fried stuff. You already know that fried stuff's bad for you. Get grilled options. Make sure you have a main protein source like chicken, beef, fish, something like that. Make sure that's like the majority of your meal. Make sure you're getting some kind of vegetables. Like I said, just skip out on the fried food. I know it's good. It's so good, but just skip out on it. Every once in a while is okay, but if you're constantly eating out, you got to make the good decisions like the grilled options, the healthy options. But just make sure most of the food you eat when you go out, it's all like cooked in oil and stuff. So you just have to account for that. Just kind of like overestimate your calories when you go eat out. In terms of logging foods that you eat out, MyFitnessPal does have a extensive database on chain restaurants. So you could usually find chain restaurant foods to log in MyFitnessPal. But if you go to like a small mom and pop shop or something, just guess. Just use your best judgment. And like I said, overestimate. It's better to underestimate. Unless you're trying to gain weight, then you should underestimate opposed to overestimating. And if you miss a day, don't worry about it. It's fine. It happens. Just don't make it a constant thing. And yeah, just try to stay on track as best as you can. Slip ups every once in a while are fine. It happens. All right, next one. Okay, why weightlifting is the number one cheat code for fat loss? The more muscle you have on your body, the more calories your body burns to maintain the muscle on its body. So let's say right now I'm 145 calories or 145 pounds, okay? My basal metabolic rate is around like 21, 2200 calories. But if I gain more muscle, let's say I had a lean mass of 170, okay? That's a lot of muscle. My body or my basal metabolic rate would probably be like upwards of like 3K. So just by existing, my body would have to burn almost 3,000, like probably around 3,000 calories just to maintain the muscle that's on my body. You know how nice that is? So if you have a lot of muscle, you could eat a lot more. Or if you're in a caloric deficit and you have a lot of muscle, you don't have to starve yourself. You can still eat a lot of calories. That's why weightlifting is so important. Weightlifting is so good for fat loss because your body naturally just burns more calories the more muscle you have. That's all you really have to understand. Go to the next one. Okay, body recomposition. This one's super important, especially if you're like skinny fat, because body recomp is basically gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. And yes, it is possible. Most people talk about bulking and cutting, but body recomp is the best thing you can do if you're a beginner. The way to do it is you just put yourself in a slight caloric deficit and you go to the gym and you lift heavy and push yourself. Like really push yourself in the gym. Since your body isn't used to the stimulus, the muscle building stimulus from working out, it's gonna grow, your muscles are gonna grow inevitably. And since you're in a caloric deficit, you're also gonna be losing fat. So that basically just helps you lose fat, gain muscle, and then you'll get to where you want to be. This also applies to people who haven't lifted in a long time, but it usually doesn't apply to people who are like lifting, who have been lifting for a while. Usually it's best for newbies because the newbie gains is where you gain the most muscle from when you start because your body's not used to it. I recommend body recomping for everyone, almost everyone. Unless you're like extremely overweight, then I would just recommend on cutting as much fat as you can. But inevitably, you will be gaining muscle when you first start. Next one. All right, compound lifts versus isolation exercises. I'm just going to be super quick on this one because it's not super duper important for you. Yeah, compound exercises are basically just big lifts like the bench press, deadlift, squat, pull up, and dip. I think there's a couple more, but it's basically just a big lift that uses multiple muscle groups to complete the movement. Compared to isolation exercises, which are exercises where you just use a single muscle, like let's say the bicep curl, to target just one muscle. Basically, you as a beginner, you want to focus on a lot of compound lifts because since you're so since your body's not used to the workout stimulus, it's just better to incorporate the basic compound movements so that you can grow as much as you can. And then once you start improving and you've been lifting for a couple years, then you can, or not even just a couple years, but like a couple months, you can get into the isolation exercises to really focus on targeting specific muscle groups. Next. Okay, warming up. Warming up is super important to eliminate the risk of injury, to prevent injuries, okay? Basically, the way you want to warm up is if you're doing like at home body weight workouts, honestly, just go for like a walk, 5-minute walk. Just warm up your body and then get into the exercises. If you're at the gym, the way I recommend warming up and the way a lot of people do it is you just start the movement off with a very light weight for a couple of reps and then do a little bit heavier and then get into your working set, which is the weight you would be doing for heavy, hard sets. And then once you warm up a muscle group for the day, let's say you're hitting upper body. Once you warm up your chest, you don't have to warm up your chest for any other chest exercises, just the first one of the day. Warming up is super important, so don't forget to do it. Just do it every time you start your workout, with every time you hit the first muscle group of your workout. And then you should be good. Should be all warmed up. And if you want to add extra warm up just to be safe, you could also just like walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Just warm up your body. Cool. Next one. All right. Progressive overload, explained super simply, is basically just doing more. Either doing more reps or doing more weight or doing more sets. Usually it's reps and weight. You only really want to do sets if you can't do either reps or weight. But the reason you want to progressively overload is you want to give your muscles a reason to grow. If you increase the reps or weights, you have to push yourself and your muscles will have no choice but to grow to adapt to the new weight or reps. As a newbie, progressive overload will be pretty quick. You'll be able to increase your reps and weights every week or so. And as you get better and progress over time, it slowly starts to slow down and it takes longer to progressively overload. But since you're probably just a beginner, just focus on increasing the reps and increasing your weights and actually pushing yourself as hard as you can. Cool. Next one. All right. Form basics and injury prevention. When you go to the gym, just leave your ego at the door. Form is super important so you don't get injured. There should be basic videos on Trainerize on how to execute certain movements. in your workout or in your workout split. And if you have questions about form, record yourself, send me a video, and I'll critique you. Form is super important. Just make sure you get the form down before you start increasing your reps and weights. You might never even have perfect form, or it might take you a while to get perfect form, but just do your best. Just don't do anything stupid. Don't go too heavy to the point where you're using different muscles to compensate for the exercise, or if you feel like you're going to get injured with the weight you're doing, drop it. Drop the ego, drop the weight. Focus on that form. Focus on mind muscle connection, on isolation exercises, and you should be good. Next, working out at home versus working out at the gym. Some people have a misconception that you have to go to the gym to see growth, but you really don't. The only thing that really matters is how hard you push yourself. You can totally get a good at-home workout in if you push yourself really hard. Just give your muscles a reason to grow and adapt, and you should be totally fine. Of course, the gym gives you more flexibility and variety, and home workouts are usually pretty limited on the exercise selection, but you absolutely do not need a gym membership. But I do recommend it. Cool, next one. Alright, now that you've watched all the video modules, I hope you have a good understanding of what it takes to actually reach your goal. And I know it can be overwhelming and a little bit scary, but it's okay, because you're going to do it anyway. Remember, you're the only one that can make this happen. I will give you everything you need. I'll give you my time, my energy, my resources, my information, everything. But you're the only one who can make this happen. And you can fucking make this happen, bro. I believe in you. You should believe in you too. You can come back to these video modules at any time, which I do recommend, especially the mindset module. Besides that, dude, you got this shit. Go kill it. Okay, so for the first 30 days, it's basically just testing, throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks, see what works for you, what you need. And then for the next 60 days after that, it's pretty much just putting the systems in place and adjusting anything if we need to. We have our checkup calls, accountability checks, make sure we're doing what we need to be doing. And if anything plateaus or changes, if we need to adapt anything, we will. And we just keep going. And then eventually you'll just be at your goal in no time. If you're doing 180 days or even 365 days, like a year, it's pretty much the same thing. It gets pretty repetitive. It's pretty simple though. Starting point, see what works, see what you need, see what works for you. And then the rest of the time is just putting in the work, adjusting, putting in the work. Yeah, pretty much it. Pretty simple. Next. Alright, staying consistent after the high wears off. When you first start, you're hit with this high. You're super motivated, you're super ambitious, you're like, let's get this shit, I'm so excited. And then you actually start doing it for a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, and that high wears off. You get unmotivated, you get tired, you have off days. What do? Do you go back to your old ways? Do you give up? Go back to your old habits? No. You stick to this shit. What would your ideal self do? Your ideal self would keep going regardless of motivation, energy, external circumstances. And I know you want to be like your ideal self. So you're going to do exactly what your ideal self would do in your shoes, and you would keep going. No matter the circumstances, you would keep going. So even after this high wears off, know that you have what it takes to get this shit done. And you're going to do this whatever. You're going to do this no matter what it takes, okay? I believe in you. You believe in you. Let's get this shit.